All right, everybody, we have another question from the 2014 Grade 7 Math SOL test. This has directions at the top, which we always begin with. Click on a box to choose the property you want to select. You must select the correct property. So in this example, by this gray piece of directions up here, it's leading me to believe that there's just going to be one property we're looking for here. So this is one of those technology enhanced questions, and we would click on the box, and that would be our answer that we'd want to select. So we're looking for which property is illustrated by this expression here, this equation. Is it the associative property of addition for multiplication, the commutative property, distributive property, multiplication property? And in order to solve this, there's really only one way to know how to do this, and that's know your properties. And if you recall, the associative property, whether it's for addition or multiplication, looks kind of like this. We'd have a value being added to another value, and then after that, you'd add another value, and that's equal to the last two values being added together, and then you tack on the a. So in other words, what the associative property essentially is saying for addition or multiplication is it doesn't, if you have three things, it doesn't matter the order in which you multiply them. A plus B, then plus C is the same thing as B plus C, then you add on the A. Notice the terms on the left-hand side, the A, the B, and the C stay in the exact same order and appear in that same order on the right-hand side, A, B, and C. The only thing that moved was the parenthesis here. So we have a parenthesis that moved from around the A and B to around the B and the C. So let's see what we have for commutative property. For commutative property, what that says is essentially if you have, whether it's addition or multiplication, whether you have two numbers being added, the order in which you add them does not matter. So A plus B is the same as B plus A, or A times B is the same as B times A. Notice that they are flipped on each side. And then we have the distributive property, which would say something like this. If you have A, some value, being multiplied times like a binomial expression like this, where there are more than one term separated by an addition or subtraction sign, that's equivalent to multiplying A times B and adding to that the multiple of A times C. So basically we distributed. We distributed the A times the B and then the A times the C. And then the last one, the multiplicative identity property, what that says is that anything, any value, times 1 remains the same. Okay? Any number, doesn't matter what it is. If you multiply it times 1, it stays that same number. So if I look up here, I don't see a number being multiplied times 1. So I'm going to cross that one off right away. What I see here is a term that's added to another term. And that's equivalent to a term added to another term. So I'm seeing addition here. I'm not seeing any multiplication, so I'm going to cross off these multiplication options. So notice I've narrowed my options down to the 3 that are left here. Now, in order for distributive property to be in play, I need to see some multiplication as well, and I simply don't. So I'm going to cross that off and leave us with the associative property or the commutative property. Essentially what we have here is a value being added to another one, and then the opposite on the other side. So this is kind of like the A added to the B is the same as the B getting added to the A. And which property was that? That was the commutative property. So that's the property we're looking for. All right, so the key to a problem like this, boys and girls, is just to make sure you are very familiar with your properties and you understand what they mean. And you can guaranteedly expect a question similar to this and others on your SOL test that will test your knowledge of properties. So make sure you're sharp with your properties. All right, thanks for watching and have a great day.